Hey guys, what's up? It's Toyhouze here. So I've seen a few of you asking me to make a Burning Crusade gold making guide, so I figured I would look all over the internet for everything I could find on making gold in TBC and put this guide together. So in TBC, there are some huge expenses, like your epic flying mount. And while I won't be suggesting making a Craigslist ad to make gold, I've got some other pretty good ideas to share. So in this guide, you'll see a lot of professions have the ability to make gold. So if you're interested in learning more about professions, be sure to check out my profession guide, link in the description below. And if you learn anything at all from this guide, I'd appreciate if you give the video a like. So with that said, let's just jump right into the top 20 list. So first up, coming in at number 20, we've got skinning and vendoring leather while leveling. So while leveling, you'll without a doubt be killing a bunch of beasts at some point. Skinning in TBC, like in vanilla, integrates with what you're already doing. For that reason, lots of people choose skinning as a profession, even if they're trying to get to max level as fast as they can. And since so many people are going skinning, that usually drives down the price of leather on the auction house, supply and demand. So in most cases, it's usually just better to vendor the leather that you're skinning while leveling. This isn't always the case, of course, so compare the vendor price to auction house price before you make any moves. I recommend auctioneer and vendor price add-ons so you know what you're doing. It will really help with gold making with this method, and really gold making in general. When questing, you know which items to sell for more with vendor price add-on, so you can choose what item you want in cases where you can't use either quest reward, for example. So those add-ons are super helpful. All right, up next is number 19. White items while leveling. Now there are a bunch of items that are white in terms of rarity, and you just look at it and you're like, what the heck is this even used for? And usually just vendor it. I know I used to. So some items like Savage Frond, for example, drop off mobs and can actually sell for way more than their vendor price. And there are a bunch, so I'm going to go through a few of them with you. We've got Wicked Claw, which is actually used for Wolf's Head Helm, which is a very nice druid elm. You've got Netherweb Spider Silk, which is a new addition in the Burning Crusade, and which is used for a bunch of high-level tailoring recipes. But all Spider Silk is actually valuable as you level for different professions. Large Fang is great for Great and Mighty Rage Potions. You've got Ichor of Undeath for Alchemy, Elemental Earth, Water, Fire, and Air. All sell quite well. Some more valuable than others, of course. And then there's Fused Wiring. I actually farmed this one myself at level 40 on a private server, and I got the gold needed for my mount really, really quick. These are in high demand because of all the engineering recipes it's used in. So there are a bunch of white items that potentially could sell for quite a bit. So I would do some research. If you see a white item, just mail it to your bank alt, throw it up on the auction house. Chances are it's worth more on the auction house than it is to vendor. So definitely keep an eye on that as you're leveling. All right, next up at number 18 is questing at level 70. Now this may come to a surprise to some of you, but quests give you more gold instead of experience points when you're max level. For private server Fresh Realms, this could definitely be a good method. Some of the other methods will make you gold quicker. This is only number 18, but it might be a little bit more mind-numbing. So this is more of a fun way to make gold while still doing quests and having some direction, or if you're into lore, reading the quests. And it could be a change of pace from other farming methods. So if you do all of Shadowmoon Valley and Netherstorm while already level 70, that should net you actually at least 1,000 to 2,000 gold. So this is an often overlooked gold making method that could definitely be fruitful if other gold farming methods are just completely overfarmed, too competitive, you're on a PvP server. It's definitely an option to make quite a bit of gold. All right, coming in at number 17 is daily quests. So in the Burning Crusade, daily quests were added. You can find daily quests in Skedis and Terokar Forest, Ogre La in Blades Edge Mountains, the Isle of Quel'Danas in Shatrath and Terokar Forest. These will get a little mind-numbingly boring because they're the same every day. Of course, there's rotation, but they're a good source of gold. There's only a limited number of daily quests, right? You've got battleground dailies, cooking dailies, fishing dailies, dungeon dailies, heroic dungeon dailies, Hellfire Peninsula dailies, World PvP dailies. I mentioned Ogrela dailies. You've got Shatari Skyguard dailies, Netherwing dailies, and Shattered Sun offensive dailies. You've got a lot of dailies to do. So maybe it doesn't get too boring, but if you've done it a few times, I'm sure it will start to get repetitive. And let's not forget seasonal dailies. You've got Brewfest, Hollow's End, and Midsummer Fire Festival dailies. So you're going to get a decent amount of gold per daily. Again, not the fastest method, but it's an easy one to check off your list each day. All right, coming in at number 16, Spellcloth, Primal Mooncloth, or Shadowcloth. So each of these will go anywhere from maybe 20 to 40 gold, depending on your server's supply and demand. Crafting it is on about a 4-day cooldown, which makes these items valuable. However, because of the cooldown, this isn't a gold making strategy that can be like massed or farmed, but it's just another stream of gold for you every so often, kind of like dailies, but this is more of like every 4 days daily or something like that, right? So not the best, but it's a good amount of money with not too much effort. All right, number 15, Netherweave Bags. So you'll need tailoring to make them, but everyone needs decent bags. And people will usually have multiple characters. These usually go for anywhere from 7 to 16 gold a pop. Depending on supply and demand, this will vary. And more often than not, they're actually an oversupply, so the price tends to be on the cheaper side. Still, most people will be buying these, so you can definitely net some profit. Like I said, the Burning Crusade has shaken up class balance a bit, so people might be re-rolling. They want alternate characters, just so they can experience certain things, Druid Flight Form's a lot of fun, so maybe they just want to roll that alt. Professions have become much more powerful and meaningful in the Burning Crusade, so having alternate characters to have all access to all those professions is another reason to make an alternate character, and you'll need those bags. So lots of reasons why people will be buying these. Again, supply and demand, they're not too hard to make, so usually the price is driven down. All right, coming up at number 14, crafting gems. So gems are needed for gear with sockets. You can make a lot of money as a jewel crafter just buying gems off the auction house, cutting them, and then relisting them. So this one's not only lucrative, but it's also pretty easy to do. And, it won't always be possible to profit depending on, the gem prices and how much you can sell the cut gem for. But look for deals where it makes sense and take advantage of your jewel crafting skill. Again, if you need insight on that, I have got a profession guide. You can check that out. But it's an easy way to stay within, the city and just make gold utilizing your profession. Okay, number 13. Now, I think that most people did not know about this. I actually found out about it myself just looking online, and it seems pretty legit. So, number 13 is farming Scholomance as an enchanter. Now, there are quite a few items in Scholo that are still valuable in TBC. Mainly dark runes, and then you can also disenchant blues and epics, and there's a lot of Runecloth. The main thing, really, that you're farming here are dark runes. When used, dark runes restore mana at the cost of health. These are used by serious raiders at endgame and sell for a decent chunk of change. While farming dark runes, you will inevitably pick up a lot of Runecloth and many greens and blues. The cloth you can sell directly on the auction house or make into bolts and sell. Disenchant the blues and greens and sell the enchanting mats. High-level vanilla enchanting mats go for quite a bit because, not many people are taking the time to farm them. The large brilliant shards, which are, these actually are used to make brilliant wizard oils and brilliant mana oil weapon coatings. So these are also 2 more items that raiders use. Now, of course, with Shadow Priests becoming, basically mana batteries, we've got shamans available now for the Alliance. Mana is not as big of an issue, so maybe this method is not as powerful as the others. It is number 13, though, because you are getting a lot of Runecloth, you're getting some nice disenchanting mats, and you're also getting dark runes. So you're getting a lot for your time, and what's better is that you aren't really going to be facing any competition, and that is a big thing with the Burning Crusade, is that it's a smaller landmass, and a lot of farming methods are going to have a lot of competition. So keep that in mind. All right, number 12, BoE Epics. So the Burning Crusade has added a lot of high-quality craftable items. Most of these require the crafter to have a primal nether, as well as having the recipes themselves, which can be world drops, specific instance drops, or in rare cases, trainable. Higher level recipes that drop from raids will often require the crafter to have Nether Vortex. Some examples of items are Gyro Balanced Corium Destroyer, Hard Corium Band, Cobra Scale Hood, the Frozen Shadowweave set, Spellfire set, the Gloves of the Living Touch, to name a few. And then there are also BoE Epics that drop that are extremely high value, like Blade of Wizardry, the Night Watchman, and Charlotte's Ivy, all of which actually drop in Tempest Keep. So if you're super lucky and you want to be going for these, you can make a lot of gold if you get the drop and you win it. However, it is tough to get it to drop and then to win the roll. So this farming method, well, it's easier to repeat over and over because it's usually, it's in an instance, or you're crafting these epics. It's hard to, it's kind of like you're just getting that one item, getting that one sale, making a lot of gold all at once. So that's that method. Moving on to number 11, we've got Mote Extractor Farming. So you need to be an engineer for this one, but you can actually make a lot of gold using this method, especially if uncontested. The motes are extracted from gas clouds in various locations in Outland. So clouds in Zangar Marsh will supply you motes of water. Those in Nogrind have motes of air. Shadowmoon Valley has motes of shadow, and Netherstorm has motes of mana. The clouds spawn in the same locations for the most part, and you'll quickly learn some efficient paths to take for each type of mote after a little bit of flying around. And really what makes this farming method so great is that it's really not recommended unless you have an epic flying mount. So if your goal is to make enough gold to buy your epic flying mount, then this method isn't really best for you. It's better to stick to some of the other methods. But because this method is best for people with epic flying, that means it's more exclusive and less competitive, meaning that you can make more money with it. So keep that in mind. All right. Number 10, Scryer and Aldor rep items. So we've got Fell Armament, Mark of Sargeras, Arcane Tome, and Sun Fury Signet. These Aldor and Scryer reputation items will definitely sell for a lot, more so during launch or shortly after while everyone is rushing to get exalted with the Aldor and Scryers. You can get Fell Armaments and Marks of Sargeras off Demon Forces, and you can get Arcane Tomes and Sun Fury Signets off Blood Elf Forces. And if you specifically want to farm the Aldor marks, Legion Hold in Shadowmoon Valley is a good place to go. This is a nice method. Usually, people can't be everywhere, so you should be able to find some place where you can get these items. And of course, dungeons that have demon or blood elf forces will also drop this. So it's an added bonus, and basically you're going to need to strike while the iron is hot, so to speak, launch or shortly after while everyone is grinding this rep. Surely these will drop in price over time. All right, number 9, Herbalism. So this one is probably pretty obvious, but lots of herbs sell for a lot. So far in vanilla, this is the case. It's going to be true in the Burning Crusade. Mana Thistle, Fell Lotus, Mountain Silver Sage, Fellweed, Ragvale, Ancient Lichen. These are all herbs that are needed to make best-in-slot flasks, elixirs, and potions. So if you pick up Herbalism, be sure to grab these herbs and list them on the auction house for great profit. There's really nothing more to be said there. If you want some routes, I have some of those laid out in my profession guide. All right, number 8, mining. So like Herbalism, ore and bars sell for a lot in TBC. This is kind of the obvious ones, obvious gold making ones, of course. You've got corium bars, eternium bar, eternium ore, corium ore, adamantite bar, and ore, fell iron, iron bars, ore and bars. Pretty much all of these will sell for a good price. And an added bonus with mining is that you can also sell gems that you find from mining, such as Talosite, Star of Elune, Living Ruby, Noble Topaz, Dawnstone, and Night's Eye. These uncut gems are valuable even more so if you're a jewel crafter and can cut them into gems that can then be inserted into gear. So what's really good about mining is that these reagents are used for blacksmithing, engineering, and jewel crafting. So definitely a great profession for making gold. All right, moving on to number 7, fishing and cooking. And I know you guys are probably like, what could possibly be better than mining and herbalism? How could fishing and cooking possibly be better? Now, I think it's because it is so widely overlooked. And so therefore, less people will be able to supply these materials. So, a lot of people overlook fishing and cooking because of the time commitment needed to level fishing and cooking, but there are a ton of high-level items that come from fishing and cooking. These include Deviate Fish for Savory Deviate Delight, which sells for about 70 silver a pop. You got Fig Luster's Mudfish, which is used for grilled mudfish, which sells for about 80 silver a pop. You got Furious Crawdad for Spicy Crawdad at 1 gold 20 silver a pop. You got Golden Darter for golden fish sticks at a gold 25 each. Huge Spotted Felltail for Fisherman's Feast at a gold 20 each. Icefin Bluefish for poached bluefish at 90 silver a pop. And last, Zangarian Sporefish for blackened sporefish at 90 silver a pop. And by the way, one huge Spotted Felltail creates 6 fisherman's feasts. So a single fish is worth about 5 gold, and that's being conservative. So that is a pretty great return on investment on catching a single fish. And of course, guys, actual prices will vary. I was just using sort of ballpark numbers based on what I'm seeing on the auction house. So fishing and cooking, a great combination. If you just have fishing, your profits will be less, but if you have both, your profits will be more. All right, moving on to number 6, Cobra scales and thick Clefthoof leather. These materials are super valuable for crafting some great items, and it's pretty hard to get Cobra scales. So if you have skinning, make sure to target Cobra scales and thick Clefthoof leather. The thick Clefthoof leather goes for about 5 gold a pop, and the Cobra scales go for about 11 to 13 gold a pop. And of course, your mileage may vary. And there are, of course, other leathers that are still valuable. So if you're skinning, definitely make sure to check out the auction house to see how much they're going for. Outland leathers you skin are definitely valuable for other recipes. So make sure once you hit Outland to keep your leather, stop vendoring, and check the auction house. And again, your mileage may vary. You know, the prices I'm saying here are just what I'm seeing right now, and your supply and demand on your specific server will definitely determine what prices actually are. Okay, moving on to number 5, Nethercobra Leg Armor. Now, Nethercobra Leg Armor is the best in-slot pant enchantment for physical damage dealing DPS classes like rogues, hunters, warriors, feral druids, and so on. This leg enchantment will go for hundreds of gold on the auction house. So if you've gathered Cobra scales as a skinner and have leatherworking to craft these, this will seamlessly tie together your professions. To make Nethercobra Leg Armor, you're going to need 4 heavy knot hide leather, 4 Cobra scales, 8 primal air, and a primal nether. Now, I've mentioned primal nether a few times. It's about time I probably explain how you get that, right? So primal nether drops actually 100% of the time off the last boss of a heroic version of a dungeon. So you won't always win the primal nether, of course, so getting them can be a little tricky. Which explains why this can sell for so much. Sometimes if you're a tank, you can reserve these beforehand, you know, if tanks are in high demand. So keep that in mind if you want to pursue this gold making strategy. If you're a tank and a skinner and a leatherworker, perhaps you have a great advantage to capitalize on this gold making method. All right, coming in at number 4, we have Flasks, Elixirs, and Transmutes. Basically alchemy, right? Alchemy has a bunch of flasks, elixirs, and transmutes that people are willing to pay a lot of money for. You've got Flask of Fortification, Flask of Relentless Assault, Flask of Distilled Wisdom, Flask of Chromatic Wonder, Elixir of Healing Power, Elixir of Dranic Wisdom, Transmute, Earthstone, Diamond, and so on, more and more. There are lots and lots and lots of alchemical flasks, elixirs, and transmutes, potions, you know, healing potions, different types of resistance potions. There are so many that need to be bought, especially in the Burning Crusade, in order to progress. And, you know, coming from, you know, classic WoW, vanilla WoW, I'm sure, you know, alchemists can you know, say how much money they've made selling fire resistance potions, nature resistance potions, and it just goes on and on. As you go through AQ, you need nature resistance. As you go to Nax, you need frost resistance. And really, the same thing continues as you progress through other raids like Black Temple. And the amount of potions, elixirs, flasks, and transmutes that are needed are essentially endless. You're constantly going to be needing it. So alchemy is a huge money-making profession. There are so many advantages to going alchemy. So definitely a top one on this list. All right, moving on to number 3, we have Primal Farming. Now this one is infamous. Probably not anything new to hardcore veterans of the Burning Crusade. Primal Farming is probably the most known gold making strategy. So I'm going to go through it really quick. You know, you can go to Kirinvar Village and Netherstorm for primal manas. The mobs here respawn extremely fast, and the area can probably support upwards of 5 people at the same time. And if you can't kill things fast enough, though, it can be a bit nasty for casters as they have Spell Reflect and Mana Burn. So this area is best for physical damage dealers that don't cast spells or use mana. So really, rogues and warriors do best here. You can also go to Scald and Blade's Edge Mountain for primal fires. Usually there are a lot of people here and the respawn rate isn't great. There are a lot of mobs that also aren't fire elementals, so keep that in mind. This area can probably support around 3 or 4 people. If you can get this area to yourself, though, that would be ideal. You can also go to the Elemental Plateau in Nagrand for Primal Fires, Primal Waters, and Primal Airs. I'm laughing because this place is wildly overfarmed. I mean, epically and historically overfarmed. I can't stress enough. I mean, it's probably infamous. The second I said Elemental Plateau, for those of you that know TBC, you probably just like laughed. I mean, it is, it's right next to Shattrath City, so it's super easy to get to. The reason this area is so beastly is the fact that if you get it alone, you can probably get 8 or 9, maybe even 10 primals an hour if you have it by yourself, which probably would never happen unless you find a time at like 4 a.m. or something when the area is completely empty and you make crazy serious money here. There's if you're on a PvP server, most likely you're going to run into confrontations. It's probably it is the best primal farming spot spawn rate wise, but the competition will be fierce. The Hand of Gul'dan in Shadowmoon Valley is another place for Primal Fires, and Primal Fire is needed for enchants and profession items like the Spellfire set, and Primal Air is needed for best in slot enchants and a number of profession items as well. So for Primal Water, you can go to Skedis in Tarokar Forest. This is generally the best all-around spot for Primal Waters in my experience. The only downside is that they're all underwater, which slows you down, of course, because of your swim speed. I don't really find farming Primal Lives or Primal Earth particularly profitable at all. If you specifically need these primals, you are far better off spending your time farming the more profitable ones, selling those, and then buying the primals that you actually need. Generally, in my experience, primals are really one of the best money makers when it comes to farming, but if all spots are filled, completely over-farmed, then you're better off farming something else. So there you go. That is number 3. And now we are moving on to number 2. What could possibly be better than primal farming? Boosting. So I predict that if Blizzard does not intervene, boosting will continue to be one of the best ways to make money in the Burning Crusade. With class balance getting shaken up from vanilla, players will probably be wanting to re-roll or create alternate characters. With professions getting super buffed and more important in the expansion, having more characters with more professions will be even more rewarding. All that, in my opinion, leads to more people wanting boosts. So if you really want to bring in the money, make a character that can boost. Protection paladins or mages are super efficient at boosting at lockout speed. It's super profitable in classic WoW right now, and I predict only more of the same in the Burning Crusade. The gold from 4 party members and the loot from the mobs combined make this method one of the top gold making strategies. All right, the moment you all have been waiting for. Number 1, the best money making, gold making strategy in WoW TBC, according to my prediction. And I think that it is auction house flipping. Buying low and selling high. If you can find opportunities using the auction house, you don't even need to farm. You don't even have to leave the city. You can just buy and sell all while staying inside the auction house. So if you do this right, I think you can easily make incredible amounts of gold. And, this involves timing the market, supply and demand. You can put consumables up before Tuesday raid reset day. So you're taking advantage of supply and demand, buying when the supply is high and the demand is low, selling when the demand is high and the supply is low. Using these methods, you can really make a ton of profit. Now, I don't want to pretend that I know the ins and outs of auction house flipping, but for those that do, I don't think there's a faster way to make gold. It has incredible scalability. You can buy in bulk, sell in bulk. I can't tell you how to do it necessarily, but I know that it is absolutely the number 1 best way to make gold. So that's it for my top 20 list. What did you guys think about these gold making methods? Are there ones that I missed that you think are better? Are there some that I listed that you think are garbage? Let me know in the comments below. I love hearing from you guys. It's absolutely awesome talking about TBC and hearing what you guys, think or have experienced yourself. So, as always, guys, if you learned absolutely anything from this guide, I'd appreciate if you gave the video a like and subscribe if you want more World of Warcraft content. I really appreciate you guys coming and spending some time with me today. So take care, and I will see you next time. This has been Toyhouze. See you next time.